Welcome, 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 Killa fam, to a very, very special chat. Some of you may have heard the spaces, the fireside chat with myself and Ben. I got an opportunity this time to talk with the creative director, the one that makes it all happen the way we enjoy. I got Kicker on. Mikhail, how the heck are you?
What's up, Craig? How are you? I'm great. I'm excited. I got something to share today, which we've been working on for a very long time. We're nearing the Cubs. Coming
Cubs
to
are
this
coming.
world.
Cubs are coming,
and people are going to be able to build them. And man, am I excited to show you what we got.
Well, I'm honored. So I just want to say, start with a thank you. Big gratitude to you, the entire KB team. Gratitude to the Killa fam out there in the Killaverse. Like each and every one, I've met some amazing people in this community, and I'm excited because you're about to walk me through literally the building process that I'm going to get to use. Everyone who knows me at this point knows I've got a Pepe hoodie, knows I've got some things that I'm very excited to do. What we're showing people is the builder that they will experience. Where you're about to walk me through the actual KillaCub building experience. And I'm just so damn excited. I'm going to let you go. Take me there. It's a Jesus take the wheel moment. It's like grab my hand and take me.
Awesome. All right. So for anyone who's listening who doesn't know about the KillaCubs, so KillaCubs is the third collection from Killabears. We have the KillaBits, that was your clones from your OG. Then we have your KillaCubs, which is our cute cubs. And the whole idea with the KillaCubs is that it's actually built by the community. So it's not built by us. I mean, we do the assets, but you put them together. Coming very soon will be this builder. So once your cub reveals, you'll be able to build them right in your web browser. And just want to put it out there that it is mobile friendly.
Which is a big deal. I'm a mobile Web3 user. I'm a MetaMask mobile guy. So when stuff does not work on mobile, it like messes my brain up because I'm like, oh God, I got to go to the desktop now. I got to get my laptop out. I got to remember a seed phrase. So it's like I know you went quick on that, but I want people to know like this is mobile responsive. This is going to work wherever you are to build a cub. So I'm jazzed. Yeah.
And I mean, it's important because like, a lot of people gonna have a ton of traits, and for people who don't know, like these traits can be bought on OpenSea. So there's a bunch of traits out there that you can buy and accumulate. So when your cub reveals, which will have certain traits, there will already be a couple of traits in the builder. There are basic traits that you can choose from immediately. You don't have to buy anything for that. And then you can also buy traits from our KillaTrait collection. I think there's about 350 items there, I believe.
Oh, there's so many. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. And they're all held by community members. So these are not owned by us. We're not selling them. These are sold by people who already accumulated them along the way. We even have something called a combinizer, where you can actually merge a couple of traits to get an even better trait. And that's something that's going to be ongoing. As we spoke about
that's going to continue the combinizer. So I just started learning the combinizer. Anyone listening knows I'm a fairly new person. I didn't originally mint. I came in about, I don't know, maybe it was 3 to 6 months ago, definitely before New York City. But I've even played with the combinizer. I only own about 6-7 traits, so I'm on the small bag side. But I was looking through. I didn't realize the combinizer was going to continue. So this is going to happen even after you allow us to build our own cubs. We get new traits with the cub reveal. You're saying the combinizer is going to remain a part of this.
Yeah, so the combinizer will be, a continuous thing, just the same as the KillaCubs. So KillaCubs will be able to be rebuilt forever. To rebuild it, you need to stake it or use the rush. To rebuild it. Rush can be generated by OG bears. So this is a collection that will never just always look the same, right? It will just continue.
Wait a minute. You're blowing my mind again. Now people will really know that I didn't know any of this stuff. Wait a minute. So I can use, because I'm getting rush right now. I'm generating rush off my one OG bear. I can use either rush or what other element where then I can rebuild a cub. Does it then mint it back to the blockchain? Is it like multiple displacing of things and then reminting?
Yeah, so you'll change your metadata that way. So basically, you if you don't have the rush, you just stake it, and it will be a staking period. So you just can't just build it all the time. But then the rush just helps, speed up that process. And once it's rebuilt, which is also, it has some rules in there, which basically like you can choose what trait you want to keep, because all the other traits that you change will actually be burnt. But this means that the cub collection will just like regenerate every day. There will be new and new cubs coming out. So it's an interesting way, because we haven't really seen that before. I feel I've seen it with a couple of open editions that has like, metadata that are always changing. But keep in mind that these are we're not controlling what's changing, right? It's you guys, you who hold the cubs. So
this is the game within the game here, right? If we're talking the way I view Web3 gaming, and I know a lot of people have a lot of perspectives on that. You're saying I get to take I have 4 KillaCubs. I was made sure to mint some of those. That was a big deal for me because I missed out on the other stuff. I have an OG, I have a bit, I have 4 cubs and 1 weapon. And then now you're saying that, again, my mind is blown. So that's why I'm running. I'm like, I get to continue to iterate on it. Now, what I use, a trait, if I bought a KillaTrait and I use it, it burns it onto my cub essentially. To use it, it gets burnt. Is that correct, or I missed that?
Correct. Yeah, correct. So every trait you have in your bag right now, as you use them, they'll get put on your cub and disappear from your trait collection. But
disappear
then
forever?
If you rebuild that cub again later on, you can choose what traits to keep on that cub. So it necessarily doesn't get it gets burns from the KillaTrait collection, but it can stay on the bear forever until you choose to say, let's say you put on a 3D glasses. It get burnt from your collection. Now it's on your bear. That's on your cub. That's on minted and all. I can't say minted because we have already minted it. It just updates the metadata. It's basically sets it in stone.
Sure.
So once you use those 3D glasses on, it disappears from the KillaTrait collection. It's now on your cub. And then later on, maybe you rebuild it a couple of times, but you keep the 3D glasses on there, so they will stay there. But then let's say the 4th time you rebuild it, you say, you know what? I don't like these 3D glasses. I want to put on, my emerald glasses. Then that trait gets burned. So that trait then disappears. Obviously, for us to keep this collection going is to obviously come out with new traits once in a while. Maybe partnerships with traits too would be an amazing thing.
Oh, stop it. You get me too excited. You can't do this, Mikhail. You cannot get me this excited. You cannot get me this excited right now. You're talking about endless opportunity for customization of my cub, because that's what I just heard. And I'm a guy that owns way more pairs of shoes than I have feet. I'm that kind of guy. So is that what you're saying for my small brain to really wrap around? Because I really didn't know this. I'm not just being this guy. Like, I didn't realize that this collection had a permanence to it in the amount of times it can be iterated on. And then there's some entertainment, obviously. Like, I'm friends with some other people in the Bears community. We've already been talking about, trait trading with one another to get a better, like, Viking Cub versus Pepe Hoodie versus all this. But now each individual user can be playing with different traits multiple times on each cub. I'm like, I just need to see it. I need it.
So from my perspective, just something that I feel like obviously we have our OG collection. We have so many NFT collections like our OGs, which was I would say the old style NFTs, and this is a new style of NFT. I almost feel like this is different, and it needs to be touched upon, because I think this is something that can help. Our universe just grow, and just the endless partnerships we can do, and ideas of games, and I just so much come to my mind what you can do with it. But if you're stuck with your traits on there, then you're only going that far. I think you're muted.
You nailed it. You might be stuck with me, because I might have to pull you into another chat that's just about the future opportunities. Because what you just said got me like level 11 excited. about what you're saying, which is it sounded like what I've heard this word a lot. I've heard like interoperability with other ecosystems, other things. Like you're saying things that have me very, very excited. I'm not committing you to that, but we may have to have another chat about that.
And, and I know that probably is something, when it comes to all that, usually Ben loves to chat about that and bring all that alpha. You'll hear some from me, obviously, because I want to give you that info while talking to this about the building the cubs, because it's sort of part of it, right? Like, why would you want to build?
Makes
why
sense.
would you
Makes
have
sense.
an endless building collection if you're not going to take it even further? So.
Well, I love that you guys are forward thinking in that way. The ambition that you have paired with the execution of things that actually work. And I know that might sound stupid, but anyone who's been in Web3, I've been in 2 years. Anyone who's been in for even 6 months would been on sites that don't work, been in ecosystems where it's like things get said and never happen. I go on your sites, whether it's the Cub site that you're showing us, that not this part, but even where I got my Cubrio and where I did all that, for your lab experience, from the Kilton experience, like the way I feel when I'm clicking around, even the music, is that like you specifically choosing that, or is that all four? Like that is such a cool element. I know we're not going to be showing as much of that right now because we want to walk people through the experience of how they get to use it, but no, there's very cool sound effects and very cool music.
Yeah, I mean, we're come from game development background, so music, UI, user experience, all that comes from that world. So you will see this Cub Builder will be more than just like feeling like a website or something. It's interactive. It needs to feel almost like a game,
Yes.
because in the end, it's all a big game, right? So we want to start incorporating, our skills from before that we might not have. I mean, we've used it throughout. You've seen our staking experience. We always like to spice it up a little bit, but I feel like with this one, is so interactive because you're building your own cub that it needed to be perfect and it needed to sound perfect. And I mean,
it really sounds like this is one of a kind. It sounds like a one of a kind experience.
I really hope people feel that way because we've spent a lot of time on it, and I personally get every time when you work on something so long, you get sometimes like you get stressed or you feel like, oh my God, this is never ending. But like every day I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, it's, a few more days of this, just testing. But then I fire it up and I play with it and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So it's always lifting me up every day. So
what a perfect momentum to like take you through what is obviously some tough weeks of having to look at thousands and thousands of iterations. But what else should we know before you literally start showing me building? Like what else would a layperson like myself need to know to get the full experience here?
Yeah, something I tweeted out this morning, which is, I think, it's sort of important to know that, not every combo is possible. We haven't drawn a single piece of hair for each and every single hat. There's hair, there's only, one per hair, one per hat. So obviously not everything will work together in the end. So that's something we've been spending a lot of time on now, is choosing what goes together. And I'll show you in the Cub Builder that we mark it nicely. It's still very intuitive to use. It doesn't block you from doing anything. It will automatically walk you through it. But just so everyone knows, not everything will work together. We've been talking about maybe having a Discord chat when we launch. So when you're building your Cub, if you're noticing something that you can report it, or if you feel like, I really think that this combo would go with this combo, and that's maybe something we missed, and we can look at it again and say, either we say, yeah, it works, or, no, it doesn't work. So we can do that as well on the fly, because, there's the option of building and saving and then finalizing. So you don't have to, when you save your Cub, you don't finalize it immediately. You can choose to build, if you have 10 Cubs, you can build them all. You can wait a couple of days and then you can finalize them, because you might want to go and pick up a couple more traits and all that.
Oh, so they could like stay in the dashboard, meaning?
Yeah. So basically what you're seeing here, if you're seeing my screen,
yes, I sure
these
am.
are the Cub. Yeah. So basically, these are your cubs. These are my cubs, my test cubs that I have here in my wallet. And one thing that we haven't released yet, so this is also another alpha. There will be something called a test cub. Test cub will be basically, it has all the traits. So you'll be able to build a cub from any trait. You can't save this cub.
Even the ones that I can't afford is what you're telling me. There's because I saw some super cool stuff.
Yeah, because imagine, you might want to see how your cub would look with Killabears snapback.
That's right.
Before you buy it, right? So you might want to build that cub, just make sure. And then if you feel like it worked, you can go on the trade market and go get that snapback and then build your cub. So we want to be able to, we don't want to limit everyone. Obviously, this is not something you can save. This is not something that you mint or anything.
Could I screenshot and tweet it though?
Yeah, I mean, because in the end, we can all screenshots from OpenSea or whatever, right? So why does it matter if you can build a cub in the builder here or not? So that's how we feel about it. Because if you think about it, the first thing that came to mind is like, well, what if someone builds that person's cub and just puts it on Twitter? But then if you think about it, that person's cub will already be on OpenSea. So, you can screenshot it from there too. So it doesn't matter.
I meant more from
cub anyway.
Where my perspective on the screenshot is like, if I've got some friends that are in the, let's call it 3D glasses club, like you said.
Oh yeah.
And I want to show them what I think my bear would look like. I can go into test cub, choose that, say, hey guys, do you think I can get in I'll be honest, there's even some DAOs around Noggles and stuff, like Nouns glasses, and you guys have Nouns glasses as traits. So I could go into my little Nouns chat in Discord with my screenshot of my test, say, hey guys, what do you think? And then if they're like, you need to do that, I would go buy the Nouns glasses. Then I could actually go to the builder, put that together, and then that would be able to be not minted, like you said, but maybe printed into the metadata.
Yeah, I mean, you can share the cub you build, even if it's not minted. You can share it and say, this is a cub I built. I will never be able to afford it, but I love it so much. So maybe someone else says, I love it too, and I'm going to build something similar, because I feel like it's a process here too. There's some people that, I'm a creative person. So for me, I always feel like, oh yeah, I can build any cub and I think it's going to look great. But then there's some persons like, I'm not maybe the most creative person, but I want a really cool cub. Can you help me build one? So I think what's going to happen is that a lot of people might just be in chats together and say, what do you think about this? Or should I do that? Or, hey, can you help me build my cub? Here's a couple of my traits. What can you do for me? And also just from the outsider, imagine if you're not in KillaCubs yet, you jump into the builder, just play around with a test cub and I'm all in. And I go buy myself a cub. I go buy myself my traits, and I'm into the Killaverse now. So it's also a way for us to bring more people in.
You're giving friend groups conversation points. I know that was the unintended beautiful consequence, but you're giving us me and a couple friends may want to have cubs of a similar style. You're also creating what I think is very cool. I don't know, this is me making I don't know if you want to call it a prediction or whatever, but you're making each community member into what I would call a potential tastemaker of fashion and style while I understand it's a cartoon, but there are really cool elements of digital identity that this whole space has been discussing and kind of working on over these last, 5 years, since CryptoPunks, right? What digital identity really is. This feels like a really fun opportunity for friends to have fun flexes, if you will, of different specific traits or different looks. But then also, I'm really intrigued to see who in the community starts rising as those tastemakers.
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen so many already building with just photoshopping the traits out of, what you have from OpenSea, putting them together. And there's some amazing ones. And as I'm testing, I'm building all these oh my God, this one's so cool. But in the end, I only have a few cubs, so I can't build all my ideas. So I also like to share my ideas. And you've been seeing us sharing some ideas along the way of here's a cool cub. Because I think it's in the end, it's, if you're in the Killaverse, even if you're building something not for you to mint, but something for you to share because you want the collection. You might want that thing in the collection. So maybe one day you can buy that one. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you can also be like, if you're an outsider, you're not even in, and be like, hey, build this one. And then they start minting them. And then after a while, maybe you needed just a little more capital. And then when you have that, you can go on OpenSea and put bids on it.
That's right. So what you just said in different words,
single bids.
I'll paraphrase because it feels like through my degen brain, you said I need to take my profits on my latest Enu play. I need to build some cubs, figure this out in the test builder, then use my terrible, poo coin gains, and then get the traits I really deserve. That's what you just greenlit for me. Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And
so show me.
Yeah. I am. So here we go. So basically, as we stated, here's all your cubs. These are all, the test cub, as I talked about, will have all traits. Obviously, I'm on my test account, so I have all traits on all these anyway. So
I'm jealous.
As you go into it, obviously we have undo, redo. So, as you build, selecting colors, you can just undo. You can go back multiple times. So, you never feel like you're losing your progress. There's also, obviously, as you can see, shortcuts. So you can use your keyboard for it too. Anything for building with speed. Anything that has a green with like the little infinity symbol means that you have as many of these as possible. They're not traits in your wallet that will be burnt. They will always be there. You can always choose from them. I'm just going to select that purple. We get to furs. So this number here is how many of these furs you have in your trait wallet. So you can only use one of these. Once you build one of these, you can't use it on another of your cub, or you just have to go to OpenSea and buy it. So obviously, as you can see, I can put all these on. There are some, obviously some new furs that people have seen. This is something I combinized myself the other day because I'm excited about this one. I think I even have the Timberwolf as well. But we have like this little cool midnight fur. We got a couple of these combinizer furs here.
Is this all Memo's art? Is this 100% Memo, or it's or Memo's creative direction down?
No, this is so that the one cool thing, kind of how we work, is that, for example, CryptoBean does 99% of all coding, all tech. And I do 99% of all the creative direction and, for example, this UI and all the websites and all that. Memo does 100% of his art. He doesn't use anyone else to help him. So it's pretty cool.
That's
and that's maybe why it takes a little bit longer. Cool. But we want to stay true to, we don't want to, I feel like when you grow too fast, you can miss out on the small details that makes the project so good. And,
I think it's beautiful,
and I feel
though,
like
because
if Memo had 3 more guys working, there might be things that you might see like, oh, that's not really Memo's style or anything like that. And I think it's important because, the art started with him.
I love that you guys were able to do that because I think that becomes hard for people. And it means to me, just to me, that you guys have conviction in the moves you want to make. You have conviction in the experience you want to create. And you have conviction in the output, like what you want me, literally me, I'm a holder, what you want me to see and interact with. I just feel very strongly that you guys are clearly, you care along every step. So I stopped you. My bad, you were on Midnight Fur. It was gorgeous.
Yeah. And no, and as I said, I think it's just important. And that's where I think our quality shines so many times because we're not trying to involve too many people in the process. Going to the one-on-ones, obviously. And so here's a little thing to know. So this little warning sign that you see here, that comes up basically if I select this trait, it doesn't go with something you have on your board. So it will warn you that before. Because obviously a one-on-one can't use any of these traits that are right here. So if I click on it, it will become, totally new. So it actually removed a couple of traits I had. That's what the warning sign is for. As I mentioned before, the undo and redo makes it easy if you accidentally click it to go back. And then I can go back to just my cub here quick. So you'll see it. So we have, obviously eyes. So all these eyes are warning. it's because my eyelids are closed. So I can just go to eyelids. And as I mentioned before, there's all the eyelids are for everyone. They're not limited to anything. We didn't want it to be a trait that you have to buy or anything. You should be able to open, close, do whatever with your eyes. So we can maybe do a little, I like that one. We have the new one with the little.
How many? Good. Dang, there's so many of them.
Yeah. So now you see, now all the eyes don't have lasers. That, obviously, a heart. Yeah, so we have lasers.
Oh my God,
buttons,
I love that.
Dizzy, cat eyes. We got some new ones that came to Cubs. Some cutie eyes.
I like cutie eyes.
And then obviously eyebrows, same there. We feel like they should be, she shouldn't be angry. You can be happy. They
totally
be
happy with cutie eyes. With cutie eyes, free eyebrows is what I heard. Yeah. Free eyebrows for all.
And then, obviously we have all the mouths. So gold grill, you can never go wrong with a
rainbow grill.
A couple of
like the sticker.
Couple of pacifiers. Yeah, rainbow grill. There we go.
Beautiful.
And then we can go to hair. Let's see here. A couple of cool new hairstyles that was introduced. If we go back to the old ones, I kind of like a little mohawk.
I think you're onto something.
Or actually, maybe a green mohawk.
Green mohawk with the rainbow grill.
And then obviously the special heads that we have, which is a ski mask. And this is a cool thing, is that you can now lift your ski mask. So whatever ski mask you have, if you wanted to lift it up to actually see the face more, you can. And ski masks now also have all the eyelids. And
wait a minute. So you Memo had to draw each iteration of the mask up, mask down. All that had to get worked on. That's there's so many of these. How did you do that?
Yeah.
You can wait a minute. You can click any and lift it. Oh my. That is so cool.
It's a Mimo drew one of these and we're like, we have to implement it. And instead of making
and then he was so sad.
We just thought
he was excited to show it to you. And then so sad when you said, okay, we need 8,800 up. No, however many it was.
Exactly.
That many.
So, and obviously for those who have parasites, obviously it can't go on ski masks. So it would remove your ski mask as you put it on. And then we have, let me lift that one up. And we got a couple of special heads that was introduced from the staking experience that's been on for a while. But let me select this.
Will the traits, you're going through all these different traits, when the reveal happens, each cub comes with a certain amount. Will they be just auto-loaded into here? They'll just show up kind of as what I have?
Yeah, so basically when your cub is revealed, you won't see it on OpenSea first, but once you get into your builder and select that cub that you got, all the traits you got with your cub will be on there. And then in your case, if you don't go into test, if you go into test builder, you'll see all traits. If you just go into the builder to build your cub, you'll only see your traits plus the traits that is for everyone to use, and the traits that were on your cub that got revealed. Because remember, if you're staking with a bid and all that, there's chance for boosted traits. So there will be a couple traits that you can get. So
the rarity. So the more rare ones are going to line up that way.
So basically there's going to be, most of it's going to be more basic traits, because obviously we have so many traits in the market, but there will be some boosted traits that we call them, that are a little more limited than the ones that kind of rarity. There will be more rare, but then we also have the unlimited. And then we also have the unlimited traits, which is like the eyebrows now. Which you can use as many as you want.
My take on that is you're giving us opportunity to dare I say beautify and customize with more nuance. Like we're going to get our traits, right? You get a certain amount with the reveal. You obviously can get whatever you want from the KillaTrait marketplace, like not a problem. But the things you guys are going to include, you're going to let us have eyelids. I saw eyebrows. Are there any other backgrounds look like those were included as well? Or are there other things that are included that can help people understand like, hey, if you just even have one cub, if you have one cub and no other traits, you still have a lot of customization, it sounds like to me.
Yeah, you have these some mouths. Some of them are from the OG collection. So there was someone mentioned like, oh, these not all my mouths were tokenizable, because we didn't want all the mouths from the OG collection to not be existing in the Cub collection, because we still want some, the standard mouths, like, a licking lips, for example. I never felt like that was a trait that people were like, had group chats over, or was like anything special. It's just part of the collection. So there are some mouths that are just part of the collection. Yeah, exactly. But obviously the grills, they're all
huge hits.
They won't be they will only come from the trait market, right? They Cubs won't come with grills, for example. But there are a lot of mouths. There's actually a couple more than what you see here that will be available for anyone to use. So basically, even if you don't have any traits, you have a couple of mouths, couple of eyes to choose from. And because as you can see, you got a couple of eyes to use here too.
Oh, yeah.
So you have options to still build it. It's mostly what I would say.
Go ahead.
I would say it's mostly clothing and stuff like that. That's something you would have to buy. But if you just want to customize your eyes, your smile and all that, you'll be able to do that. That's
why I like that the most, though, Mikhail, is that it means that anyone, even a new person, a brand new person that just gets one cub, can even customize that, even if they own no other traits. Or it sounds like, and maybe check in with me on this, if let's say I'm 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, or whenever, I don't even know exactly when this goes live, but I don't own a thing, and I buy a Cubrio, or if it was a Cubrio, I guess I would have to then incubate it for 8 weeks. But after that point, I'm in the game, and I get all the included traits to make my cub however I want, and then because I incubated, I would, in theory, get some traits at that point.
Yeah, so basically, so when you, only the new Cabrios will get traits, right? So if you're buying a Cub that's already been built from OpenSea, you only get those traits. Yeah,
that is what it is, right? If you get a Cub that already looks like a Cub, but won't Cabrios potentially still be available? Because people play this game, right?
Yeah,
or some hold that.
Yeah. I think there's like 800 that hasn't gone through
this
phase
happened to
one
me
yet.
I don't know if you remember Artifact did this with the clone vials.
Yeah.
And there's still some unused clone vials, and they actually go at a premium because people don't know what they're going to get. Isn't that the same, that technically a Cubrio could yield a very rare trait, or I believe potentially a one of one?
Yes. So that is correct. So basically there's some people who plays the long game and just gonna hold unbuilt Cubs. Which is also interesting, but because it brings, sort of prolongs the fun also.
Oh yes,
I see it as fun. Where
delayed
you're like,
gratification
someone bought this. Yes, exactly.
There's hope. There's people that's how they get their jollies. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all delayed gratification. So you're going through backgrounds. There's a ton. Furs. There's a ton. The one-on-ones. There's fewer. I know. Heads, outfits. There's so many aspects to this. How many? This might be a terrible question. It seems like there's like hundreds, if not thousands of different options, let alone like, I know the math, I don't know, would be a factorial of some sort, but what are there, like billions of combinations or something stupid? It's like, in theory,
it must be.
It must be.
It must be a lot, yeah. Because if I'm thinking about it, you can see me scrolling through all you see
that
all
shirt
these.
Was sweet. Oh, that jacket. Wait, was that the Pepe hoodie?
It feels like never ending. Okay, let's do something with the Pepe hoodie. Let's say
I saw the Pepe hoodie.
There we go. So you got your
Pepe
hoodie on.
I'm telling you the same thing I told
green
Ben.
Eyes.
I'm doing that. I'm going to be doing the Pepe hoodie as a primary trait for me, just because it was going to become a forever. I believe that down the road, I'm going to get such ridiculous offers that I'll end up being one of those people with like saying no to crazy offers, because it's like, to me, the Pepe traits become like a historical moment in my journey of Web3, and then it puts it on the Cub. I think that is so cool. I just had to give you some flowers.
Obviously,
for
a Pepe hoodie, you want some emerald glasses. Those
you have to, though.
Sick.
You have. Oh,
or
man.
you said you
I
had,
think you just got
you
me.
had these.
Oh, I do have some. I'm in Little Nouns. I still hold a couple. Oh no, too many options. Now wait, so, let's say I did this, right? Let's say I did that and I minted that. Sorry, not minted. I combined it. I saved it. Can I sell it as that exact look to someone else? How does that work? How does it go back to OpenSea with a look? If you can't answer that, I understand.
So if I save it here, it will tell me basically some traits that will be lost, because this was already built. So I'll confirm that. Those pop-ups are not designed yet, so don't want to. And obviously, as I say, we're also in a beta builder. But once I save it here, you see it's generating my thumbnail now. I can actually speed up that process. It generates your thumbnail, but these are not minted. These are just in your builder. These are your Cabrios that are basically not yet updated. Up here later on will be a menu that says finalize, which you click on and select the cubs you want to finalize. And that will take it off of your, from your trait collection.
So it'll go from dashboard to the things will get burnt. All of that will happen in a single transaction?
Yeah, so you can select all of these and mint them. I can't say mint because they're minted already, but you basically select all of them and update them. And once you update, that's when they get burnt from your wall.
There's my dude.
Up until then,
how did you know I like gas mask? My clone. I had a gas mask clone for such a long. How did you know that?
I have I have a feeling that you like this whole combo.
That was a very cool combo.
But now I don't know if you can show this interview, because now maybe someone else will build this.
I know, right? Well, you know what? It's just for us. This is just you and me.
Yeah.
No one will get to see it.
Yeah. So obviously we have all the cool weapons. I forgot
about the weapons, which are getting. I remember Ben was talking about this, because the weapons are now going to be in this art style moving forward.
So you'll extract them from your bit and you put them onto your cub. There's obviously a couple of new weapons that were introduced from our burn market, but we have our cub weapons in there too. Let's see, we got our pets too, obviously.
Wait a minute, I didn't know about pets. There's pets?
The pets from the bits. Bits came with the weapon, and then you could also merge your bits weapon to get these pets, so you can put them on as well.
I love that. I love a good companion to a companion, right? You've got your OG that now has your cub. Now you got a pet. We're building families, Mikhail. We're building families out here.
Exactly.
Oh, and then, the hoodie is sweet.
So if you want to clone, obviously you can clone your OG. So you got your traits from your OG. And if you hold, the OG you hold cannot be built by anyone else. And obviously there can't be any duplicates in the collection. So when you start building here, this is not live yet, you'll see a notification if I have this combo, and as soon as I click, let's say I click mermaid.
Right, but
someone has this combo already built, a pop-up will come up and say, you can't build this one. And every OG you hold in your wallet are taken. So basically, they're only you are allowed to build that OG.
Wait a second. So this is an extra juicy.
That's how we. That's kind of how we protect you.
So your if you wanna traits are protected. So then, if you ended up needing them, you can get them. Either you got them yourself from going through, I believe the Scannerizer potentially was what it was called, or you could buy them on secondary. And it's basically reserved for me. I do have an OG bear. I have one OG bear. He's got dope eyes. He's got an Evil Knievel Daredevil thing, which apparently is one of the cool ones.
Yeah, so that exact OG can only be built in a cub version, can only be built by you because it's in your wallet. So it's taken.
Well, now you costing me money. I have to go get that outfit.
So you'll be able to clone your OGs, and obviously everyone who had an OG when they extracted all the traits and they kept their OG, they'll have all the traits to build their OGs, obviously. Because your OG still costs traits. But if we wanted to make sure we have a couple of people out there, our Killa Toys collection who comes soon, 4 of them are actually holders that hold their OG bears that we make the toys from. They want to make their clone cub. So obviously we want to make sure that only them can do that clone. So that will be a really cool
back-end kind of feature. That's not a feature that like the outside world sees, but a collector cares quite a bit about that, because if you did a bit of work, like I know some of my friends did, to get some of the bears that they hold, where there's value in sweeping floors, here's and there, all that, but I know some of my friends went for very specific looks. Now they're going to be essentially guaranteed, if they want to, they can. That wallet's the only one that'll be able to make that exact iteration of the cub. I think that's awesome. I think that's a really cool nuance that you guys added in. Thoughtful.
And it's just to protect, people who have the OG who wants to maybe do something with their OG and have their copy. So it's more than fair. And something I love is obviously let me just remove this little pet because he blocks my view, and I'll remove the weapon too. I love the basketball traits.
Are you a fan? Are you a hoops fan?
I mean, I just love the sports in general. I don't really typically watch it every weekend or something. I just like the idea of sports. Like if I'm on a Sunday, I'm home and there's sports on TV, I might put it on and watch. I'm not like usually rooting for one. Obviously, I'm in LA, so I will root for Lakers if they play.
Got to.
And then my wife is from the South, so obviously we have the Saints that I'll root for. They're playing. So that
trait is in honor of your wife, is what you're telling me. That trait's in there
kind of
to show some love to wifey. I got mad respect for that.
Yeah. And
cool.
So I mean, as you can see here, a ton of traits. I know someone got the Holy Grail.
I love that carrot suit. That's so silly.
Carrot suit is good.
Oh my god. I haven't seen a bunch of these. Because I haven't been through every single one of the traits, so a lot of this is brand new to me.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's
sick.
So you'll spend some time on this, and that's why it was so important to make this. So you can see here's, for example, an error that hasn't been fixed yet. Obviously, these glasses can't go behind this mask.
So that would be one of those scenarios where there'll be a conflict, and it'll let you know.
Exactly. There will be a conflict and it will let me know. So obviously that mask, but this mask goes obviously with these glasses. So that's something, we still need to fix. And that's why I was saying before, like not all hairstyles goes with all masks and hats.
But it makes sense though. It makes sense. Like all the jokes years past where like the people complaining about like art that was going over a PFP's ear or different things. You guys are putting the extra intent in, the extra time in, to A, make sure that doesn't happen, and B, make sure there's warnings that let the people know it's not because we don't love you. It's not because we don't love that you have those traits. It's because there's a conflict in the visual there, and it's not going to go great. So we just need to tell you that.
Exactly. And that's all there is. And, we can't have another drawing of the image just to match one of the traits, because then it will not work on many other traits, for example. So it's just impossible to make everything work together. But there's actually a lot of things.
What you did.
Yeah, and there's actually so many things that do work together, which is actually interesting that we didn't even know. Like there's a lot of masks we did that we didn't even thought would work with, certain hairstyles, but they did. So then we kept them in there. So obviously there's just a lot of combos, endless combos. I feel like you can do.
I bet the number's in the trillions. I know we touched on this a bit ago. I'm not going to do the math because I'm bad at that. But the reality is there's so many different things you can do. You've got me so gassed up right now because I didn't know you can continue, right? I thought it was like a one-time thing. I didn't realize you could build, rebuild. You know, if I'm not planning on selling, for example, I can and can I even finalize and then revert that, or no? Once it's finalized, that is done, not able to be reverted.
Once it's finalized, that means it's done, and you won't be able to do it again. Your traits have been
burned
from your trait
I love
wallet
that.
and
Deflationary.
put onto your cub. So yeah, so basically, but when you're just in your here, when they're saved here, you still have all these traits. You haven't got rid of them. But when I'm in there,
though,
it's only until you finalize.
When I'm in there, if I'm making a few, because I can make up to 4, because I have 4 cubs, right? I still won't be able to use my Pepe Hood any more than one time, correct? It would be only one of them.
Exactly.
Could even have that equipped.
Only
I can't.
One of them.
I guess I'm calling it equipped because I'm thinking of like a video game, but like it is like a video game. Yeah. It feels like I'm equipping gear to my avatar, to my cub, and then in my dashboard that'll only have 4. You had like 9 up there, or whatever number it was. I'll be able to still use however many I have, plus all the freebies, and get what my version of my holdings allow me to. But it would be the Pepe hoodie would only be on 1. I have Viking cuffs and a Viking helmet that could only be on 1. I can't put that on all 4.
Exactly. So once you in your builder, once you put this on, you'll see when you're trying to build your next cub that this will say 0, then that you don't have it because you don't have it available because you can't put it on multiple. But if you then go back and just remove it from your other cub, then obviously it'll come back here. It's not burnt. It's not burned until you finalize
until final.
them.
Once finalized is when you're basically updating on the blockchain. I could sell it if I got, or I could do whatever I want at that point. But at that point, those traits are now gone from the KillaTraits collection. They're gone from my wallet. And they are basically part of the metadata as my cub, and my cub holds all that on the blockchain moving forward. No backwards.
Correct.
I love it. Now, go ahead. Sorry, please.
And no, you could actually have seen it. I didn't have these USA socks available until I had it already on this cub. So that's why it's showed here, but it didn't show me when I was building the other cub for you. So it was actually, you could have seen it in action that you couldn't select it multiple times. But yeah, I mean, and that's sort of the rundown of the builder. These thumbnails that will be generated, on launch, they might not be the fastest. This doesn't mean that you still can't finalize. You can still go you can still go finalize it.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of people doing this.
It's server. Yeah. It's made from the server, and obviously when we release, there will be a lot of people building. So this is basically put in sort of a queue and generated on the server side. But you can still go finalize it. So this doesn't mean that if you're in a rush to say like, I don't want anyone to build this, I need to build it. Right. You can still finalize this one until you don't have to wait for the thumbnail to be generated. The thumbnail to be generated
you could do the process.
You have.
Everyone in the space is used to that, metadata updating and refreshing and things of that nature. Yeah. We know the blockchain enough to know that. So you walk me through that. We have a test cub that we can play with. Everyone's going to have access to that. This dashboard will have the amount of cubs you have available, right? So if it's a Cubrio, it's not going to be available to be, it needs to go get incubated before it's available here. So your available cubs will show up. And then when you click on the number to build, then you will get into basically the trait equipping portion of the experience of the game. And you'll go through background, fur, heads, outfits, special equipment, whatever you have, paired with what you got as a little gifty for incubating will be available. It'll give me a warning if I'm trying something that is going to conflict. Love that. And then when I'm happy, I hit save. I can undo and redo all while I'm in here, but when I want to see it in my dashboard, I hit save. Now, that doesn't put it on OpenSea yet, but that puts it in my dashboard. That allows me to know, it even reminds me that if I move forward with it, that trait's gone. That'll be gone. You're guiding me through. Then at my dashboard is when if I'm in love, it's Pepe hoodie, it's noun glasses, it's love, I can finalize. And at that point, I'm sending it to the blockchain, if you will. And now if I want to sell it on OpenSea, there's going to be a tough price for that one. I'll be honest. It's not going to come easy. But what did I miss? That was what I learned over this last journey here that you took me through. What did I miss?
Yeah. Well, if you put it on OpenSea for sale and you're going to put it up for a hefty price because you built it yourself and you don't want to part with it, right? But then there's someone out there who says, I love the cub you built. I love all the traits on it, but I don't like the eyes. But I'm going to buy that cub. And then he buys it from you. He incubates it. Now he has the time, has availability to change those eyes out, because once he incubates that, he can rebuild it. But he can choose to keep all your traits except for the eyes, because that's maybe what he didn't like on it, but he liked everything else.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. So you make, let's say it's you. You make a cool ass KillaCub. It's out on the blockchain. I see it. I can buy it from OpenSea in the market. It's the one Mikhail put together that I'm in love with. I then go back to the incubation. I restake. So is that another 8-week situation? And for that, now I'm not going to receive those traits though. I won't receive that because those are dead, right? They're burnt. Will I get other traits as part of the incubation or no?
No. So the incubation, and I don't have the exact timeline for how long the secondary incubation.
So this is a different incubation. So this is a new incubation.
So it won't be 8 weeks. I think it might be more like 4 weeks. But once you incubate it for 4 weeks, you don't get any new traits. It's exactly that cub. But after you incubate it, you have the chance to build it again. So you have the chance to update the metadata on it.
Well, like
so
you said,
basically, I like your cub and I want to buy it, but maybe I wanted to just change out the eyes, or maybe I wanted to change out a couple of things, but you had a gold chain and the gold chain was the only thing I was after. So you had the gold chain, so I would buy that cub, and then I would change the other traits, and I would go buy some new traits and say, I really like the gold chain. There's no more gold chains available in the trait market, but here's a cub with a gold chain on it. So I'm just going to buy that one, and then I'm going to start and build from there. You don't. It's sort of like just an ongoing process, which is so cool.
I'm floored by this because the amount of times that I can interact with the dashboard and have a different experience is as unlimited as the iterations of like all the trait combinations. It feels like you're sharing like alpha after alpha. So I'm just grateful. Thank you for that. Because when you said never ending, I'll be honest, at first I was like, oh, what does he mean? I have to be in love with it. I get it now. You weren't saying never ending from the perspective of like, okay, everyone's going to fall in love. Everyone is going to fall in love and be on this ride. You meant never ending in that quite literally every cub can come back through a secondary incubation period and change again and be modified again. But there's a buying and selling that's allowable as part of this process. That's what's blowing my mind right now. Because like Pepe hoodie nouns glasses that I may sell one day, then that owner says, you know what? I'm done with gas mask. I actually want to see the mouth now. They can incubate to do that and then finalize it again and list it. And now a new Pepe fan, because Pepe's going to the moon. We know that, right? From the people. We know that. So then in 2029, when Pepe is the new Doge, it could sell again. That I really think I'm excited to be a part of this to help people understand it. But it really has elements I've never seen in the space. And I've minted clone. I've been around all the things that had some of the best, what I would call UX. They had great UX. Artifact had a really cool experience, but I couldn't do this much. It wasn't as clean, and I certainly couldn't undo, redo, basically curate my cub experience. I'm stoked, Mikhail. The amount of different ways I'm going to be stuck behind a computer. I don't know if I love you or I hate you in real time right now, because I only have 4 of these things, but I'm getting all these other traits. I own a couple traits. I've got work to do, my man. You are giving people jobs right now. I don't know what else to say.
I'm glad you love it, because that's the reaction I want from everyone using it, because that's the reaction I have daily when I play with it. And, a lot of times as a creative, I dislike things I do. And that's just the creative world. Like, you do something and once you worked on it for a while, you're like, oh, this sucks. That's usually how creative thinks. So I love that you love it, and I hope everyone else will love it as much. And I hope this shows that we're really thinking, that NFTs are here to stay, and there's a new generation of type of NFTs that I think it's time to do and have out there, because I feel like we've had the same collection sort of running through for a long period of time, and now we're starting to see so many new people innovating and doing more and more things. So I hope that this fits in that innovation category, and that other founders as well will look at this and be like, this is cool, we want to do something similar, because I think it's important that more and more projects are innovating and releasing new stuff, because that's how we grow as a whole. It's not just about us, it's about all the big projects out there that needs to be able to go to the next step, so we can bring more people in and we can be here for a long period of time.
Well, I got to say, thank you, first of all, for your vulnerability in that share, right? Like, the real truth from my perspective is you built something absolutely incredible, visually stunning, fun to engage with. I'm literally looking forward to it. People that listen to me know I'm not really about that BS. I'm just trying to tell it how it is. If I thought it sucked, I would be like, hey, we'll cut that minute out. And this part didn't look right. This is smooth as glass. It looks fun. I think you've built something that the fans, I'm just going to call it what it is. People that get into the Killaverse, if you will, if you're going to understand why it's worth sticking around, you become a fan, right? That's really what it is. I'm a fan of the Orlando Magic, so I go to games and I buy jerseys. I am a fan of the Killaverse, right? You're creating experiences for me. And I don't just mean New York City. I don't just mean this minute right now. I mean the friendship I've got with my boys. I've got Hank, I've got Mark, I've got Ed that we talk. And then that went into concentric circles outward. I'm in group chats with some Killabear people. These experiences keep getting created around the stuff you and your team are building. So I just, again, needed to give you some roses on that, because I can understand how sometimes you're so in it, where it's like you're literally in weeks and weeks of testing right now, which has got to be fatiguing to the eyes and mentally. But I think the Killa fam is going to feel very, very good about this Cub experience, because it's next level. I've never seen it yet. It's intuitive to get through. It's click easy. It's mobile friendly. It's all the things I would want for a person like myself, because I'm a layperson in the space. I don't have the dev chops, and you've made it easy. So thank you. Thank you for spending time showing me. Thank you for sharing everything you did. And thank you for putting this together.
I thank you. And, as I said, I hope everyone is as excited as you, because that will make my day. Because, I think this is going to be a lot of fun to a lot of people, and just people who wants to maybe just use the test cub and have their kids build a couple of cubs and just maybe get into it, and finally they're gonna tell their mom or dad that, hey, I want 4 more cubs, this was fun to build.
That's right.
We're trying to bring more people into the Killaverse. So I hopefully this will do that.
I really do think you're onto something. I really do. I'm not just saying that. The concept of being able to do these types of experiences with family members, we both know, just because we've seen it on Twitter, there's already Killabears holders that integrated their children into the experience, from not just the cool things you guys made and sent home with people, the Dr. FOMO plush and all that stuff, but literally just how I've seen parents doing the push-ups with some of their kids as part of like that Killabear health push. And I've seen people talking about the Cubs with their kids, like, you really are doing that. And I gotta say, I'm really excited to be along for the ride.
Thank you.